you're looking for an easy, fall-inspired recipe, then this video is for you, so stick around. Hi, Debbie Chu here from Chu on Vegan. Welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new here, I am a registered nurse and I eat a plant-based diet with a focus on protein. As a postmenopausal woman, protein is essential in my diet to help me maintain muscle, and which helps support my bones. It's very important for your overall health and longevity. So today this recipe is going to be easy, trust me. I'm going to show you a couple shortcuts, things that I do to save time. It's going to be fairly low calorie. It's going to be under 500 calories a serving. You're going to get a good amount of protein and fiber. So it's a really good all-around meal, and it's going to be fall inspired. It's going to be a butternut squash and black bean enchilada. Does that sound good or what? I love making these. I use green enchilada sauce. I'm going to be using canned enchilada sauce. That's a quick little shortcut. I also find butternut squash that's already chopped up for you, so you don't have to do that. And then I made my cheese sauce yesterday, so I have it all ready for today. I have it ready for the whole week actually. So sometimes just a little bit of planning and a little bit of shortcuts can really make a recipe come together super quick and easy. And your family will love this one. It is so delicious. As always, I will leave the full recipe and the macros in the description box. And I would appreciate it if you would check out the other things that I do have in my description box. I have lots of discount codes, and I have links to my cheese sauce and other things down there. If you haven't checked out my podcast with my bestie, Joey Troxel from Plant-Based Dads, then be sure to check that out. And you can find that anywhere you listen to your podcast. Spotify, Apple, all that. And we also record it, so it will be on my YouTube channel, and you can watch previous episodes on my channel as well. So without further ado, let's get into this recipe. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to roast our butternut squash. I've got about 2 cups here, and I just cubed it up. Actually, these were already pre-cut. I just made them smaller. If you want to start from a whole butternut squash, feel free. I just didn't want to take the time. And then I just sprinkled a tablespoon of taco seasoning on here. I use the Siete brand. It has all the spices that I need in here, you know, cumin and pepper and chili powder. So it's a really nice seasoning blend. I didn't use any oil. I just sprinkled it on and tossed it with my hands. It's going to go in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes until it's soft. You just want to make sure it's a single layer, and that way they'll cook evenly. And then in the meantime, we're going to get the rest of our ingredients prepped. Next up, I have about 3/4 cup of TVP, which is textured vegetable protein. This is going to help us get more protein in this dish. And then I'm just going to use some hot water to cover it. And then we're just going to set this aside and let it rehydrate. And then I'm going to take you over the stove and we're going to finish the rest of the ingredients. So I have a nonstick skillet heating up on medium heat. I put a little bit of water in there, and then I'm just going to add some onion. And we're going to let these saute for, you know, at least 5 minutes. We want them soft, get a little caramelized. And I'll add water if I need to, but we're just going to let these go for at least 5 minutes. So I let these go for about 7 minutes, and you can see how they've reduced down, they're caramelized. This is what you want. This makes them so sweet. Now to this we're going to add 1 can of black beans, just rinsed and drained. And then we're going to add in our TVP. Going to give this a stir. And then we're going to season it up, of course, because we've got to have some more of that delicious flavor in here. So I'm just going to sprinkle on a little more of the Siete and mix it all together just so we get some seasoning on the beans and the TVP and the onions, of course. And then this just needs to go for 1 or 2 minutes. And then of course you want to taste it and make sure it's seasoned enough for you. You might need to add a little bit more taco seasoning or salt or something, but definitely give it a taste and make sure that it's to your liking. So now we have all our components. I've got a 9x13 baking dish. I've got my corn tortillas. I've got my enchilada sauce. I'm just using canned green enchilada sauce. Just make sure it's vegan. And this one happens to be gluten-free as well, so that's what I look for. It's the Las Palmas brand. I've got my squash in the back and my bean, onion, and TVP mixture. So I'm going to show you how I do this. I layer my enchiladas. I don't do them individually. It's just way too much work and it's messy, and this is just so much easier for me. I'm going to start by putting a little bit of enchilada sauce in the bottom. Maybe about a cup. And I have about 9 tortillas here. 3 of them I cut in half, and you'll see why. So I just put them down, and then I put 2 of the halves here at the bottom. Now there's going to be some spaces, but it doesn't really matter. Once everything gets in here, it's going to all work. I put a little bit more sauce on here, just to make sure that these tortillas get nice and saucy, because I like it saucy. I'm just going to use a pastry brush here to spread it. And then on this layer will go half of my bean and onion mixture. And just kind of spread it around. It's going to all work out, people. Trust me, you'll get beans and onions and butternut squash and TVP in every bite. Then we'll place half of our butternut squash in this layer. Okay, that looks good. And then we do the next layer of tortillas. Kind of squish it down. Like that. And then we'll do a little bit more sauce. And you can do as much sauce or as you want. If you wanted to do red, you could, but I just love the green sauce. There we go. And then the rest of the bean and the onion mixture. And then the rest of our butternut squash. Okay. Then our tortillas. And for the last layer, I do want it to be pretty much all covered up, so I'll add another one right there in the middle. Now I'm going to add the rest of the enchilada sauce on here. And make sure that they are all covered. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my cheese sauce onto here. Now I made this cheese sauce yesterday, so it had been in the fridge, so I just heated it up so it'd be pourable. Yum, yum, yum. And I will leave the recipe to this in the description box. Now this is going to go back into the oven, the 350 degrees, for 20-30 minutes. You want it to be nice and bubbly. And then we're going to let it sit for about 10 minutes before we cut into it. Would you look at this? Okay, this is 1 serving. This recipe makes 8 servings. I'm going to give you the macros after I give this a taste, but I just topped it with a little lettuce and some tomato. I just like the freshness of that. You could squeeze a little lime if you wanted to put salsa on it. Anything you want to do. I'm super excited about this. I want to get some sweet potato and the beans. Perfection. I mean, this is so good. I could eat this, and I will eat it, like every day. Woo! It's just a little bit spicy, not too much. If you want it more spicy, then get the medium green enchilada sauce, or you could add, you know, cayenne pepper, however you want to do it. But to me, this is perfect. Got those big chunks of the butternut squash. It's such a good combo. All right, the macros for this recipe, like I said, it's 8 servings. So for each serving, calories are 486, fat is 13.8 grams, carbs 73.5 grams, protein 21 grams, fiber 16.6 grams. So good amount of fiber, good amount of protein, it's no oil, it's delicious. Like I said, I will put the recipe or a link, I'm not sure which one I'm going to do, on the cheese sauce, and all the full recipe will be down below. If you haven't already got your Hume Body Pod, highly recommend. I mean, especially going into the holidays, it's going to really help you stay on track. I've got a link and a discount code below for 15% off. You can stack that on top of any discount they may be running at the time, any sale that they're having. So it's a really good deal, and just like I said, highly recommend before the holidays. So the last thing you want to do is get out of control on the holidays, and this really keeps you on track, along with tracking your food, of course. That is if you're trying to lose fat or just maintain what you've got now. And it's really cool because it shows you your fat percent, it shows you your muscle mass, and it breaks everything down for you by each limb. I mean, your torso, your arms, your legs, so you see exactly where everything is, and it's really interesting. And it's all backed by science, and it's 98% as accurate as a medical grade DEXA scan. So check that out, along with the other things I have in my description box, the recipe, the macros, all that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. If you did, please give it a like and share it with your friends. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would. It really helps me grow. And be sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. I post every week. And if you've made it this far in the video, please comment below with enchiladas and let me know if you're going to try it. It's a pretty easy recipe. There's a few little shortcuts in there that I shared with you. So I hope you give it a try. Remember, all my recipes are good for you, they're good for the animals, and they're good for the planet, and what you put on your plate determines your fate. Until next time, thank you.